Which baseball rule changes dramatically affected era's meaning? Imagine trying to compare pitchers from different eras and realizing that the numbers might not tell the full story. That's because big rule changes in baseball history have made ERA, or earned run average, a tricky statistic to interpret across time. ERA measures how many earned runs a pitcher gives up per 9 innings pitched. But when rules change, so does what that number really means. Back in 1917, baseball officially introduced the concept of an earned run. Before that, runs scored weren't always classified as earned or unearned, so ERA wasn't a consistent measure. Once they defined earned runs, ERA became a useful way to compare pitchers. But then in 1920, the game saw a major shift with the banning of the spitball and other doctored pitches. Pitchers couldn't manipulate the ball as easily, which led to more offense and higher ERAs league-wide. Comparing eras from before and after 1920 is like comparing apples to oranges because the playing conditions changed so much. Another big change came in 1969 when Major League Baseball lowered the height of the pitching mound from 15 inches to 10 inches. This was a response to the dominance of pitchers in the late 60s, especially in 1968, called the Year of the Pitcher. Lowering the mound made it harder for pitchers to dominate, which caused eras to rise. So, a pitcher's era before 1969 isn't directly comparable to one after because the environment shifted to favor hitters more. The introduction of the designated hitter rule also affected era. Starting in 1973 in the American League and later in the National League in 2022, pitchers no longer batted. This meant teams could replace the pitcher with a stronger hitter, increasing offensive production. As a result, eras for pitchers in leagues with the DH tended to be higher because they faced tougher lineups. Changes to the strike zone also played a role. In 1969, the strike zone was narrowed to favor hitters, which made it harder for pitchers to get strikeouts or weak contact. This change contributed to higher eras because pitchers had less room for error. More recently, in 2023, rules limiting defensive shifts have been introduced. Teams can no longer position fielders in extreme shifts, which makes hitting easier and can lead to more runs scored. While the full impact on ERA is still being seen, it's another example of how rules influence what ERA tells us about a pitcher's performance. Finally, after the death of Ray Chapman in 1920, umpires started removing dirty or discolored balls from play. Cleaner balls are easier to see and hit, which increased offense and eras compared to earlier times when balls stayed dirty longer and were harder to hit. All these rule changes have shifted the playing conditions and the way we interpret ERA. When comparing pitchers from different eras, it's important to remember that ERA doesn't adjust for these changes. It's a traditional stat that's heavily influenced by the rules and environment of the game at the time. So, understanding these historical shifts helps us better appreciate what ERA really measures about a pitcher's skill.